When Marcus Ellison stepped into the Hollingsworth Grand Pavilion, no one paid him any real attention, and that was exactly how he liked it. He wore a charcoal suit, nothing flashy, nothing screaming for validation. His hair was cropped close, his beard neatly lined, his hands relaxed at his sides. If anything, he looked like a man coming off a long day, not the one quietly holding the strings to a multimillion-dollar transformation project half the city had been buzzing about. The gala lights were warm and golden, cascading over crystal glasses and tailored gowns. It was the kind of room where people bragged to themselves even when they weren't talking. The kind where status was a language and insecurity was perfume. But Marcus didn't belong to their world, not because he couldn't, but because he refused to play the game. He stepped through the crowd slowly, looking not at the displays of wealth, but at the people behind them, their faces, their intentions, their blind spots. A server carrying champagne almost bumped into him before apologizing. Marcus gave a small nod. "You're good, man. Don't worry." Polite, steady, unbothered. He made his way toward the center of the ballroom, where a large screen displayed the name of the company everyone came to worship tonight, Hollingsworth Dynamics, celebrating a groundbreaking partnership with a global investor. Marcus's gaze didn't linger. None of the crowd knew that partnership had been secured months ago, and that the global investor they'd been bragging about at brunch tables and boardrooms was the quiet man moving through the room unnoticed. His phone buzzed. A message from his right hand. "Tessa, you good? You're early." Marcus typed back, "Just observing." He slipped the phone into his pocket. Then everything shifted. A man in a white tux, glossy, smug, and far too loud, stepped directly into Marcus's path. His name was Brett Kavanaugh, a senior executive with a reputation for never checking his ego at the door. Hey you, Brett snapped, pointing without even fully turning his head. "Bars that way. VIPs only on this side." Marcus blinked once. Calm. Neutral. "I'm fine here." Brett laughed, looking him up and down. "My guy, they're letting anybody in these days. Security really slipping." A couple nearby tried to hide their amusement behind champagne flutes. Marcus moved past him without a word. Brett hated that, being ignored by someone he assumed he owned. He followed. "Hey, I'm talking to you." Before Marcus could respond, someone else walked up. A woman in a silver gown, elegant in the way wealth pretends to be effortless. Olivia Hollingsworth, daughter of the CEO. Known for smiling like she cared while treating most people like background noise. She looked at Marcus, tilted her head slightly, then smiled. One of those polite smiles people use on staff. "You're blocking the walkway," she said softly, as if she were doing him a favor by being gentle. Marcus didn't move. "I'm exactly where I need to be." Olivia blinked, confused for only a second before her expression sharpened. She turned to a server passing by and plucked a glass of red wine from his tray. She held it out to Marcus. "If you're working tonight, take this to the corner tables. They're waiting for refills." Marcus didn't touch it. "I don't work here." Brett laughed again. "Sure you don't." Marcus stayed still, his expression calm but unshakable. The kind of calm that always scared arrogant people because they couldn't figure out what they were missing. Olivia's smile thinned. "Look, if you're uncomfortable serving." Marcus interrupted quietly. "I said I don't work here." Brett rolled his eyes. "Then why are you dressed like HR sent you here to observe us?" Olivia raised the wine slightly higher, like she expected him to take it eventually. When he didn't move, something in her face tightened. People were starting to look now. Phones partially lifted. And then Brett, trying to impress Olivia, or whoever he thought was watching, snatched the wine from her hand. "Fine," he said. "Let's help him understand where he belongs." Before anyone could react, Brett tipped the glass forward. The wine splashed across Marcus's chest, spreading dark and sharp across the fabric. A collective gasp rippled around them. Olivia covered her mouth, not in shock but in embarrassment. Embarrassment that Brett might have taken it too far in public. Marcus didn't flinch. He simply looked at Brett with an unreadable stillness. Then he adjusted his sleeve, wiped one drop off his jaw, and walked away. No raised voice, no threat, no scene. Just a quiet man leaving a louder room. A server whispered as he passed. Bro walked out like he's the one running this joint. The irony made Marcus's chest rise with the faintest breath of amusement. Outside the ballroom, the air was cooler. He pulled out his phone. Tessa answered instantly. Yeah. Pull the deal, Marcus said quietly. Lock everything. Announce immediately. There was a short silence. Understood. Marcus hung up. Inside, the music stopped. Screens flickered. Conversations cracked into confusion. The fallout had begun. And Marcus wasn't even inside to witness it. Panic moved through the ballroom like a fast-spreading storm, blowing past the smiles people wore like masks. The host rushed onto the stage, whispering urgently to the sound technician. Executives pulled out their phones, scrolling with growing confusion. Someone near the bar muttered, "Why did all the investor channels go offline?" Another voice added, "My alerts just went red. Every account." Brett didn't notice any of it yet. He was too busy bragging to a pair of young entrepreneurs about checking that guy who didn't belong. Olivia wasn't listening. She was watching the room. Her instincts, well honed from years around boardrooms and scandals, told her something was seriously wrong. When the host stepped back to the mic, his voice cracked. I'm sorry, everyone. We've been informed there's been a temporary suspension of the signing process." The room exploded in whispers. Suspended? Why now? This is insane. Olivia turned sharply toward her father, Lawrence Hollingsworth, who stood frozen near the stage, phone to his ear, brows collapsing deeper with every second. Brett snorted. Probably just legal paranoia. Investors overreact to everything. But then Olivia's phone buzzed violently. Her best friend sent a video with a caption. "Y'all humiliated the wrong guy, grimacing face." She played it. The clip was only 8 seconds, but it was enough to upend everything. Brett dumping wine on Marcus. Olivia smirking. Marcus walking away like a man who already knew the consequences. Olivia felt her stomach drop. "Brett?" she whispered. "What did you do?" Before he could answer, a board member sprinted across the ballroom toward her father. "Lawrence," he pulled out. The investor pulled out. Her father's face went gray. "That's impossible. He hasn't revealed himself to anyone yet." The board member swallowed hard. "He just did." Her father looked at him sharply. "Who is he?" The board member whispered something. Lawrence stumbled backward. Olivia moved closer. "Dad." Lawrence's voice shook. The man Brett threw wine on. Olivia nearly dropped her phone. "What?" "He's the investor," Lawrence said, voice hollow. "His name is Marcus Ellison. He owns the entire partner firm outright. He was testing us." People around them were listening. The news spread like fire through dry grass. Someone whispered, "That guy? Are you serious?" A server said softly, "He looked like he had that 'don't mess with me' walk." Another server added, "He didn't walk. He glided." Brett's face went chalk white. "You're joking." But no one was joking now. The music had stopped. The lights dimmed. The entire event was collapsing under the weight of one moment of arrogance. Olivia pressed her fingers to her forehead, breath shaking. "We did that in front of everyone." Lawrence turned on Brett with a fury rarely seen on a man who normally measured his expressions. "What did you say to him?" Brett stammered. I thought he was staff." "And that makes it acceptable?" Olivia snapped. The board member cut in, voice harsh. "The deal is gone. The expansion plans are dead. Stock is crashing. All because you humiliated the man funding half our future." Panic overtook Brett's expression. "We can fix this. I'll apologize." But Olivia knew. Some damage doesn't reverse. Some lines don't uncross. And some quiet men don't forget the disrespect money can't hide. Marcus didn't rush home. He walked. His neighborhood was quiet. Not luxurious, not struggling, just honest. People sitting on porches. Kids racing bikes. Someone grilling in their driveway. Life breathing in the small moments. He liked that. He liked places where people's worth wasn't measured by their outfits or their last names. As he approached his apartment building, Mrs. Rourke from 3B saw the stain on his suit. "Good Lord, Marcus. You get into a fight with a bottle?" He chuckled lightly. "Something like that. You want me to heat a plate for you? I made chicken pot pie." Marcus smiled. "I might take you up on that later." He went inside, loosened his tie, and finally exhaled. His phone buzzed. A message from Tessa. "Everything locked. News is spreading. You okay?" He responded, "I'm good. Let it play out." He set the phone down. For a moment, he let the quiet wrap around him. Then his phone rang again. This time, a number he didn't save. He didn't need to. He already knew. When he answered, Olivia's voice was small, fragile in a way he didn't expect. "Mr. Ellison." "Marcus." "Please don't hang up." Marcus said nothing. She inhaled shakily. "We were wrong. We treated you like you were beneath us. And the truth is, we didn't even see you. We just saw what we assumed you were." Silence stretched for a long beat. "My father wants to apologize too," she continued. "We all do. We just want a chance to." Marcus finally spoke, his voice low, steady. "Olivia, I'm not angry." She swallowed. "You're not." "No," he said.
I'm disappointed.
"Because none of you asked who I was. You just assumed you didn't have to." Her breath hitched. He continued, "If the deal mattered to you when you believed I was important, it should have mattered when you assumed I wasn't." Another silence. "Can we meet?" she whispered. "Please." Marcus glanced at his stained suit. "I'm home. If you're coming, come honestly." 20 minutes later, there was a knock at his door. Olivia and her father stood outside. No limo, no entourage, no designer arrogance. Just two people stripped of the illusion that status offered safety. Lawrence cleared his throat. "Mr. Ellison."
I'm deeply sorry.
"We failed you tonight." Marcus stepped aside but didn't invite them in, the doorway itself becoming a line of accountability. Olivia's voice cracked. "We acted like we were better than you, and we weren't. We were raised to believe certain people belonged in certain places. But that's not an excuse." Marcus didn't soften. "It's not." Lawrence spoke again. "Is there any way to salvage the deal?" Marcus shook his head. "Not tonight. Not this way. Not with these values." Olivia wiped her cheek, steadying herself. "Is there anything we can do?" "Learn," Marcus said quietly. "Understand that the world is bigger than your circle. People carry stories you never bothered to hear. And respect doesn't start when you realize someone has power. It starts when you assume they might." He stepped back into his apartment and ended it simply. "Walk carefully. Arrogance has a way of circling back." He closed the door. Their footsteps faded down the hallway. Marcus exhaled. Justice wasn't loud tonight. It was clean. The next morning, the headlines were merciless. Hollingsworth Dynamics implodes overnight. Viral video shows executive humiliating major investor. Millions lost in minutes. Arrogance caught on camera. Comment sections weren't kind to Olivia or Brett. Public sympathy leaned entirely toward Marcus, though he hadn't said a word publicly. Tessa called him. "You see the news?" Marcus took a sip of his coffee. "I try not to." "Well, it's everywhere. You walked out like a ghost of accountability." He chuckled. "That dramatic?" "Marcus." Someone edited a slow-motion version with inspirational music. He sighed. "Lord." But beneath the humor, Marcus felt something heavier. A responsibility to make sure what happened wasn't just spectacle. It was a lesson. He drafted a short statement for his company's internal network. Choose respect first. Not because someone earned it, but because everyone deserves it. Simple. Direct. And then he went about his day, meetings, calls, planning the work that actually mattered to him. Rebuilding overlooked neighborhoods, funding youth programs, supporting people who didn't grow up with safety nets. But life had another twist in store. That evening, he got a message from someone he didn't expect. A text from Ava Morales, a community organizer he had met months ago during a volunteer project. She'd been warm, sharp, confident in a way that came from experience rather than privilege. Her message read, "Saw what happened. Hope you're okay. Want company tonight?" Marcus smiled despite himself. A small thread of something human, peaceful, pulled at him. He typed back, "Yeah, I'd like that." When Ava arrived, she didn't look at his suit or ask about the scandal first. She asked one thing, "You good?" He nodded. "I am now." She sat beside him on the couch, quiet but present, not performing concern, just offering it. Marcus realized then that sometimes the universe removes people who don't value you to make room for those who genuinely do. He didn't need the Hollingsworth's approval. He needed alignment. Weeks passed. The Hollingsworth scandal became a case study in business schools across the country. How arrogance sank a company overnight. Brett resigned in disgrace. Olivia stepped back from public life, trying to understand herself past the shallow social world she'd been raised in. Lawrence lost his seat as CEO. And Marcus? He thrived. His firm expanded into 3 new states. His community programs doubled. His partnership network grew stronger than ever. And quietly, slowly, his connection with Ava deepened. Not a movie romance, just 2 people choosing each other with intention. One evening, Marcus stood outside a renovated youth center he'd funded anonymously. Kids played basketball under new lights. Parents laughed on benches. Life was moving the way he always wanted it to, forward, upward, together. Ava joined him, leaning on his shoulder. "Feels good, doesn't it?" she said. Marcus nodded. "Better than any deal could." She smiled softly. "You did the right thing that night." Marcus shook his head. "No." They taught themselves. Ava looked at him. "Still, you showed people that being quiet doesn't mean being powerless." Marcus breathed in the cool night air. "The moral," he said quietly, almost like narrating to the world, "is simple. Respect people before you know their story. Because the person you dismiss today might be the one writing your tomorrow." Ava squeezed his hand. And as the lights of the center glowed warm across the block, Marcus Ellison, calm, steady, underestimated, walked forward into a life built not on revenge, but on value. Real value. The kind that arrogance can't destroy.